In this chapter, we'll discuss working with text in your document. We'll take a look at editing basic text, ways that InDesign lets you format the text, and then we'll take a look at placing and flowing text from outside sources. In this lesson, we'll focus mainly on editing text. Here I've set up a text box with just some basic text flowed in. You may remember we discussed in an earlier lesson how to create a text box, but if I click on that type tool there and I just use it to draw a box, that will be automatically set up as a text box. You can see the blinking cursor in the corner, and I can just start to type the quick brown fox, and you can see that it will start to appear in my text box. If, for example, on the other hand, I have an existing box that doesn't have content already assigned to it, I can convert that to a text box either by double-clicking, whoops, that didn't work, by double-clicking with the type tool, or by going up to Object, Content, and selecting text for my content instead of graphic. Now, because I'm in the selection tool currently, it won't let me start typing until I switch to the type tool. But now again, here I am in my box, and I can start typing. I'm just going to remove that from the page so that we can look at the text in this already existing box. The text in InDesign is editable much the same way that a text in a word processing program is editable. So if I click my cursor somewhere in the text and I start to add a sentence, here is a new sentence, it will just get added into the text. You can see that I misspelled the word sentence, so I want to point out to you how you can check the spelling in your document. Right now I have something called dynamic spelling set. What that means is it will underline any words that aren't recognized in the dictionary, and then what I can do is I can right-click on that word and it will suggest words that are close to that word in its dictionary. I can select the correct spelling here. So sentence instead of sentence. There are other ways to check the spelling as well. If I go up to that, sorry, I've selected the type menu, but it's actually under the edit menu. If I go under the edit menu to the spelling heading, it gives me the option to check spelling. It's kind of like a more recognizable spell checker that you may have seen in other programs. It will select a word that it doesn't recognize. It will give you an option to change that word to something of your selection. And then you can change either single instances of that spelling, or you can hit the button to change all or to ignore all if it's a word that is correct in the document but something that might not be recognized by the dictionary. If I want to turn the dynamic spelling on, that's what creates that red underline and allows me to use the right click, or on a Mac a control click, to change the word. I can go up to spelling and dynamic spelling. There's also an autocorrect feature built in. I tend not to use that as often. I personally am a little mistrustful of autocorrect. I prefer to use the dynamic spelling, but for those who prefer something like an autocorrect, you can use that as well. So in terms of editing the text, I can delete with the backspace key or the delete key. See, now I can use my dynamic spelling, to right-click on the word. It actually isn't suggesting the word underneath, so I'm just going to go ahead and type that back in. I can also use the cursor to click and highlight sections of text. Once I have that highlighted, I can copy it, I can paste it, or I can use the backspace and just delete it. So basically, in terms of basic functional text editing within InDesign, it's similar to other word processing programs and pretty intuitive, working from a keyboard and with the mouse.